Population. Now, a quick reminder, a youthful population is a population that has lots and lots of young people. So if we look at this population pyramid of the Gambia for 2019, we can see that the bottom of the pyramid is really, really wide. Okay, and about, I'd say, a third to a half of the population in Gambia are going to be young people aged under 25. Okay, so we're going to think about why it's good for a country to have lots of young people, but also why that can cause problems. Okay, the first positive impact of a youthful population is that in the future, this country, like the Gambia, will have an increased workforce. There are going to be more young people to work in the future because there are lots of young people being born. That's really good because that means that the country can make money, it can have more factories, it can make more products and it can sell more things, and they can then use that money to help the country develop. So living standards will hopefully improve in that country. Another benefit is there's going to be an increased number of consumers. That means there will be more people to buy things. Excellent. Because if you've got more people to buy things, companies can sell more products and companies can therefore make more money, and they can also expand and provide and create more jobs. The government can also collect taxes on the things that are being sold so they can get more money to develop. Excellent. Okay, so we just spoke about tax being collected, and this is a kind of separate benefit. So the government can collect tax from people who work. Everybody who works in a country, if they earn over a certain amount, will pay tax on their wages. So if more people are working, the government can collect more tax. And like we said in the last slide, the government can also collect tax on products being sold, and there are more people going to be buying things. So this is going to give the government more money. And that means that that money can be used to help the country develop, to build more hospitals, more schools, to improve things like sanitation, so provide drinking water that's clean, to improve roads so it's easier to get round in a country. A negative of having a youthful population, though, is that more pressure is put on healthcare and education services like schools and hospitals. So if you've got more young people, more money needs to be spent looking after them. When they're born, they ideally should go to a maternity unit. That lowers the infant mortality rate, and so more maternity units, more hospitals might need to be built, and the government is going to have to spend more money on vaccinations because there are more kids that need vaccinations. That's going to cost money too. All of these kids will start to go to school, and so more schools will be needed, more teachers will need to be trained, more teachers will need to be paid, and this all costs money. It's a bit of a positive though if you're a teacher or a doctor or a nurse, because it might be easier in the future for you to get a job because there are going to be more schools and more maternity units and bigger hospitals. Another negative is that more food is needed. This makes sense because the more people you have, the more food you need to provide. Now this means that farmers in the country will need to grow more food. So they might start using pesticides and fertilisers, chemicals on their farms to help them increase the amount of food they grow, or they might expand their farms and carry out deforestation. They might cut down areas of forest to build fields, which is obviously going to have an impact on climate change as well. The government also might need to buy food for people if it can't be grown. If we think about Burkina Faso, a country in Africa with a really dry climate, it's being affected a lot by climate change at the moment, it's quite difficult to grow food in Burkina Faso. So if the government can't get food within their own country, they're going to have to buy food from other countries or ask for aid, and this will probably cost the government money. Another negative is that more houses are needed. So as young people grow up, they're going to need their own house. So the need for houses will increase. And lots of young people often will choose to move to the city from the countryside. This is called urbanisation. And when this happens, they might not be able to afford a house, a nice house like we would imagine in the city, and so they will have to build or find a house in a shanty town or a slum. Now this is the picture that's shown on the right here. So this is Kibera. It's a slum in Nairobi, the capital of Kenya in Africa, and here conditions that people live in are really, really poor. We can see a big pile of rubbish, we can see that the houses are pretty homemade, it's not very safe, there's dirty drinking water. So more young people in a country means that people might not be able to live in houses that are of good quality. Unemployment might also increase. So as the young population grows up, more jobs will be needed because there are more young people looking for jobs. But if lots of new jobs aren't made, then people will be employed, and that leads to poverty. So 70% of Africa's young people already live on an average of less than $2 a day. Okay, they're in poverty. Now, if when they grow up they can't find a job, that is going to put more people in poverty. It's not going to help the country develop. So, a youthful population for a country like the Gambia, is it positive or is it negative? You're going to decide.